This is my September reading wrap up, even though I'm really late on this and it's almost the end of October. But I'm going to say whether or not I recommend the books that I read in September. Starting with House of Sky and Breath, this one is an absolute yes. The first book, House of Earth and Blood, is my absolute favorite book that I have read this year, and this one did not disappoint. All of the things that I loved about the first one were continued in the story. This has some of like the best world building and really some of the best characters I have ever read. I love Bryce. She is honestly one of my favorite female main characters. Her confidence and her stubbornness and the way that she is always willing to fight for others and stand up for them is so amazing. And I really love her relationship with Hunt, and I love how their relationship progressed in this. I also really loved the found family, but specifically in this book because I felt like it took it to a whole new level. All of the characters are so accepting of others, and I really loved how they were constantly taking people in. Like, their whole group is some that I would love to be best friends with. Overall, I love this book. However, I did not think that it was as good as the first one, only because I thought it was a little bit more confusing at times than the first book was. But I still recommend it, especially after that shocking and cliffhanger ending, and I cannot wait to read the third one. Next, I have If It Makes You Happy. This one is an absolute yes. This is the absolute cutest fall romance book. It is set in the Burr months, so September, October, November, December in 1997. And honestly, the whole thing gives like a Gilmore Girls nostalgic vibe. The story follows Michelle, who was recently divorced and whose mother recently passed away, when she moves to a small town in Vermont to sort of take over her mother's inn until her sister can take over. While there, she meets Cliff, a single dad who is also a baker, who lives next door to the inn, and the two become best friends first and then enter a romantic relationship. Honestly, Michelle and Cliff are absolutely perfect for each other. She's grumpy and he's sunshine, and it works so well, and I love the relationship, not only because that they started out friends first, which I love in romance books, but also because they truly understand one another. Cliff is also an amazing dad to his daughters, and he always puts them first and will do anything for them. Honestly, he is just a walking green flag. But this book is absolutely perfect for fall, and I highly recommend it. Next, I have The Crimson Throne. This one is also an absolute yes. This was a 5-star read for me. The story is described as Outlander, but it is young adult and no spice, meets Holly Black, and I don't think I've ever read a more perfect description. It has all of the romanticy elements of Outlander combined with the fey court politics of the Cruel Prince. It is set in 1500 Scotland during the rivalry between Queen Elizabeth in England and Queen Mary in Scotland. The story follows Aelith, who is half human, half fae, and she is the protector / guardian of Scotland and personal guard to Queen Mary. Aelith's main role is to make sure that the magical fae barrier protecting Scotland from like this evil group of fairies known as the Red Cap stays intact, so that way Scotland is not overrun. It also follows Samson, who is a spy for Queen Elizabeth, and he's sent to spy on Queen Mary to see if she is hoarding Red Cap weapons to eventually use against England. The plot of this is not only well written, but it is so fun. I had such a great time reading this one. It is definitely more plot heavy than character heavy. However, I think it works so well in this book because you get so many great scenes, like a knife to a throat, where she puts the knife to his throat, a masquerade ball, a goblin market. I just loved every second that I was reading it. I also really loved Aelith and Samson and their relationship. They ended up becoming reluctant allies after finding this whole bigger plot to sort of take Queen Mary off the throne. But honestly, every interaction between them had me glued to my Kindle. The banter and tension between them is everything that I would want in a romantasy. Honestly, a majority of my Kindle highlights was something that Samson either thought or said about Aelith. The setting of the story is also really magical because it's set in 1500s Scotland, and it introduces some really cool fey creatures that I had not heard of before. And I really thought the setting was perfect for that because it sort of has this whole magical quality to it. But this is another one that I really loved. Next, I have The Naturals. This one is also a yes for me. This had been set on my TBR for probably over a year, and everyone kept telling me to read it, and so I finally did. I cannot believe I waited so long to read this. I do think the first half of the book was pretty slow, and I wasn't too sure about it. However, once I got involved in trying to solve this serial killer case, I was absolutely hooked. This story is so well written. I had no idea who it could be, and honestly, I was absolutely wrong, and I was so shocked by this ending. I have since read the rest of the series, and I read them all in like a week because they're just that good. And honestly, every single time and every single book, I was absolutely wrong, and I had no idea what it was. And I think that really is a testament to how this is written because there's so many clues and so many theories and so many directions that they're going. I was easily fooled. I do highly recommend the entire series. Next, I have Fall I Want. This one is a yes for me, but it could be a maybe for others. I do think the plot of this is kind of messy. However, I sort of just went along with it and didn't think too much, and I really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun. I do think it is a really sweet, small town billionaire romance. The story follows billionaire Zane, who moves to Cozy Creek, where he meets Autumn. The two of them end up fake dating once Autumn's ex returns. And honestly, I just love any book with fake dating. That was one of the reasons why I loved this. I also really liked how before they even started fake dating, Zane really just wanted to be friends with Autumn and just to hang out with her. And I thought that was so sweet because I love books where they become friends before they become lovers. But despite that, this does have kind of an insta-love and the relationship does move very, very quickly. So that's why I think it could be a maybe for some people. For me, I personally just had fun reading it and I really loved it. And last, I have Fear the Flames. This one is a maybe for me. I was so excited to read this one, and honestly, I don't feel like the story was as good as I thought it was going to be. I loved the romanticy element and the relationship between Elwood and Caden. That was honestly a highlight of the story for me. Every time they were together, I knew the scenes were about to be great because they have some really great banter and tension. They were a highlight of the story, and they were sort of like the redeeming factor for me. The overall plot I felt was somewhat lacking in this. The whole story revolves around Elwood trying to get her dragons back. And honestly, I just didn't feel like that was a strong enough factor to carry this story. I do have book 2 because I bought it before reading the first one. And so I do plan on reading it, but I am really hoping that the plot is a little bit more cohesive in it and that I enjoy it more than this one.